Hey, welcome back, everybody. Doofus Bob here, episode 2, part 2 of the planning. I think episode 1 was about 30 minutes. This one might be a little bit shorter, maybe like 20 or 25. So we talked about how we're going to put stuff down, and we talked about a few other things, and we need to decide where we're going to put the ice mountain ridges that exist. So I've got the paper map here in front of me. I'll pull it up on so you can see it on the screen. So we've got a ridge roughly where the power generator is and where the trenches are. So there's actually, if you look at the map, there's the power generator is over here. Okay, we don't have to go by the map. Okay, the map is, I'm not sure how accurate. It could be completely theoretical. Somebody made this off of something online, but I kind of like the setup. We know General Veers took his unit, which is a Blizzard 1, and went towards the shield generator. Okay, so we know. I have to look at the map while I'm doing this. Looks like the shield generator is to the right of the main entrance. So the main entrance we'll put like this, okay? And we'll have this here like that, okay? So let's just make this the main entrance. If so, then the power generator, and I'm not sure how big we're going to make it. I'm just going to do this. You know, it was like a bunch of little half circles sticking out of the ground. And there's paper kits you can buy for that. There's some resin kits you can buy for the shield generator. I think I was saying power generator, but it's a shield generator. And actually, we'll probably put some power generators nearby, and maybe some hoses and wires and stuff like that. Now, there's a ridge that he has to go around to get to it. So I'm thinking we'll do something like this. Doesn't have to be dramatic, right? And we'll just do it like that. And we might just taper this a little bit more this way. Like that. Okay. And then there's a ridge that kind of divides the main force from this force. So I'm looking, it kind of looks like a bit like that. Maybe something like this, right? Because they can walk in between there and there. You wouldn't put your shield generator on and have a ridge in between, right? So if we do it like this, that means we can have trenches here, something like that. Okay, and if you picture, let's take some of our figures and just put them over here kind of like this, just to signify what we're doing. There we go. And then we'll have main trenches coming across here, like this. And this is why we have another layer, right? Because we're going to have to dig out that part and then do this. So we got this side done. So here's ridge over here. And I'm not going to make it that big. You know, I don't want it this tall, you know, because then I can't see it, you know. It's probably going to be maybe about that tall, 6 inches, you know. Originally, when I make these hills and ridges and mountain sides and all that good stuff, I was going to glue them down, right? And make it part, just make all the landscape together attached to the bottom. But what if I have to move this? It's going to rub up on stuff. It's going to get damaged. It would be fun to redo it a little bit and fix it, but let's make it easy on ourselves, and we'll make this ridge and this ridge, maybe that opening there to the main gate entrance of Echo Base, modular. So we'll make them, but we're not going to glue them down. So now over here to the left, we can have maybe just like a little ridge that comes like this. And then maybe, you know what? Now that I'm looking at that one looks a little bit too sharp. So let's do something like this. Let's break that so it does more like this. Cross that out. There. That way this pathway is open here. We can put maybe some tauntauns running that way or something. And let me move my chair. Then we'll have some trenches here. Something like this. We'll decide on trenches, like exactly how they're gonna be. This is 1 inch thick. The second layer will be 1 inch thick. So we would go down about 1 inch. These figures are maybe just over 1 inch, so that their heads will stick up out of the trenches. I'm looking behind me here at another piece where I had drawn some ideas, and I think we're good. Now, one of the ideas I had, if you remember from the spaceport, we had this paper gate from Tinker Turf, okay? And I had it on the spaceport. Didn't really fit there for any particular reason. But now look, okay? So, I mean, this is pretty big, right? If you compare, let me open this up a little bit so you can see. Oh, part of it fell out. There we go. Okay, so if that's the gate to Echo Base, okay, you can see that. And you can see one of the figures here standing. That fits in very nicely, right? I believe this is made for tabletop terrain. That's what it's for. So was the blast door on the north Echo Base main gate? I'm not sure. If you remember that scene when they had to close the blast doors, Han and Luke were outside, blah, blah, blah. That was a pretty big gate. But I think this will do. So what I'm thinking is we'll get the styrofoam, we'll start shaping it, and we'll build the gate into the styrofoam, right? So, and in this case, it's not like it's going to be flat here, right? We're gonna shape it. We'll shape it all so that even if you're looking from this angle or this angle, you'll still see snow and ice covered stuff. It's gonna be a lot of work, but I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna look pretty cool. All right, so that's our main layout. We might also build a ridge here. Okay, so that, because remember the Imperials are coming around and then going down this way. We only have so much space. So what I'm going to do is just build a small low ridge here. And then back here, we'll have some troops gathering. It would have been awesome if I had one of the Hasbro Shuttle Tidarium. I don't have one. And if I did, it might be difficult because those things are huge. Okay, I mean, it's as big as the AT-AT. I'm not even sure it would fit back here and have all this. So, I did see one at the toy store the other day, and it's just huge. If I had one of those barn dominiums, they call it, where it's a it's a house, but the main portion of it is a barn, really. That would have been awesome. But I tell you what, I would have made this, you know, um, 8 by 8 maybe, or hell, even maybe even bigger than that, 10 by 8. I would have had so much stuff on there. But I live in a regular house, and I don't have that much space. Um, so, okay. So again, I had to redo this part, and just to give you an idea of how we're doing it, look at the yeah, okay. Just showing you what we're gonna do here. So we'll have this force over here protecting um, protecting the shield generator. That one is so this is the forward base over here. This is the rear base, and we'll have a lot of stuff to put out. I guess again, we'll have our laser cannon will probably be here. Rebel veterans will probably be up front there. I talked about Inferno Squad. They'll be back here. And then this little land speeder, I think we'll have it staged here as if they're about to go to war over there. So, okay. All right. But you can see what we got to do here. This is 1-inch thick polystyrene extruded. Okay? Meaning if I start cutting trenches into this, it's going to get real flimsy. And that is why we went out and bought 2 of them. Right? We will layer these. So we have to take all this off and then put the 2 pieces on top of each other. We'll put this one on top because we've already drawn on top of it. And we will probably glue them together. This will all be in an episode. This is just the planning phase. Then we'll glue the 2 pieces together, and we'll have to start. We're gonna seal it just like we did the spaceport, and then comes. I'm thinking to myself. So we'll glue the 2 pieces together, and we're gonna seal it because I may do some spray painting, and if I do, I don't want it to go through anything that I've layered up on here and then start eating away. It probably won't, but I think it'll be fine to cover the exposed polystyrene. Then we'll cut our trenches, we'll make our ridges, and ridges will just be layers of polystyrene foam, and we're gonna cut that down and shape it, and we'll get some wire brushes and make it look rough, and we'll probably start gouging out stuff here and over there, and then the leftover pieces will be rubble, and then maybe like this. If I take this off, you see how this is just plastic. This is kind of like a little hill or something. We're gonna make a bunch more of those. We'll shave them down, texture them, and then put them up. We'll have those because it's terrain is rarely flat, right? There's no terrain on this planet that's completely flat. Well, maybe the salt flat, but we're gonna make it wavy. What I'd like to do, let me move this guy up, is have this part over here, this piece here. So like if I were to separate this out, right? This half will be a little bit more elevated than this half. And I'd like to, when I start layering on the compound that will make the surface of this, I'm going to layer it a little bit thicker over here so that this just comes up just a little bit. And I'm not coming up this high, maybe half an inch or so. And I've looked at some compounds. You know, if I did this with Mod Podge, it would take a ton, and we'd have to layer up pretty deep. I did an experiment a couple weeks ago. I got some leftover uh, drywall mud, and I just slapped it down, and I did a couple. I let it dry, and then I painted it. I took another glop and I mixed some Elmer's glue into it and let that dry, and that was very sturdy stuff. And then we painted that, and I think you go either way. So we're gonna gouge out the trenches, build all the ridges, and then we'll have to put down layers and layers of some material, shape it, make it look like a glacier, and we're gonna have to paint it. There's gonna be a lot of white, blue, white and blue, white and blue, white and blue layers, right? To give it that ice look. We're gonna be playing with our little hot knives and stuff to make the ridges look like melted ice. Um, I am looking for a Wampa Beast figure that's like I found one at the toy store, but he's like this big. He's way too big. So a friend of mine had an idea, and he was like, "Well, surely you can find, you know, a Bigfoot figure or something and paint it white." And at first I laughed, and I thought, yeah, that could actually work. And then put some little tusk on there, you know. Um, so there's a lot to do here, and this is going to be a long series. And for now, this is where we are. Okay. Um, Again, I encourage you to go back and look at my Spaceport series and understand that that was the first one. Audio sucks, video sucks, and just I would go to the very last episode, which I think was 10, and look at the final product, and kind of then go back in the series and look at the parts that you need to look at, and hopefully you'll find those helpful. For this one, we're going to be a lot more hands-on. We're going to be a lot more descriptive. I think I left a lot out of the last one. I was just having a lot of fun. Okay, remember, this is for my home. I've got the spaceport now sitting over there. Every day I'm sitting here watching movies in my home theater, which is behind the camera. And I just look over and just love looking at it, you know? I wanted to display my ships for a long time. Now we're going to do the Battle of Hoth. I'm guessing it's going to take about a year. It's going to take about a year. And we're going to take our time with it. We'll point out what works and what doesn't work. And I hope you can learn from my mistakes, like the camera falling down, for example. You know, I might leave that in there so you can see it actually happen. It's a good learning thing. Now I've got an extension cord plugged into it and it's pulling on it. It's all fun though. Don't take life so seriously. If you make a mistake, don't be one of those people that throws things against the wall and rams your head to the wall and stuff like that. You think that's funny, but I know someone who doesn't. So just don't be that way. Be happy and fun. It's a lot more fun. And you can sit back and laugh at the angry people. Okay, like and subscribe. We've got some things planned out. I'm gonna take some photos here and show you like kind of what the plan is, how we've drawn out, where the ridges are gonna be. I'll even write ridges and trenches on here, and I'll put those in here at the very end so you can see what we're gonna do. All right, everybody have fun. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you in the next episode.